Daddy's talking to himself again.
Let's see what we can do with this. And this. And this. Oh, and one other thing. Please subscribe. This enormous sycamore blank was very kindly sent down to me by my friends at Yandles Woodworking Centre in Somerset. They have got the most amazing range of wood there for sale. Their wood stores and this collection of bowl blanks is enormous, huge selection. So if you're down that way, be sure to pop in. And if you can't get down there, have a look at their website. They've got a really good website. And they also stock the range of Record Power machinery and tools. So if you want a closer look at the Coronet Regent lathe, the Record Power lathe that I'm using in this video, go down there and have a look. They've got one on display. I wanted a bigger blank to push the lathe a bit further, the Coronet Regent lathe, because it's got huge capacity and I want to see how it performs. So this is an 18-inch bowl blank, I believe. I haven't measured it, so it would probably just fit on the lathe actually, but I want to use the outrigger. I've got an outrigger and I'm going to use it. Now it's a big lump of sycamore, so I'm going to use some big jaws. So I'm going to use the Record Power 130mm jaws, which I'm going to put on the Record Power SC4 chuck. So that's the next job. So there we go. Nice hefty chuck and some nice hefty jaws. Fantastic. This is the faceplate that came with the Regent lathe, the standard faceplate. Just removed my mounting jig. So as I said, this lathe has got an 18-inch capacity, so this will actually fit over the bedways. But I want to use the outrigger here, so we're going to turn this round. Outrigger in place, bowl blank mounted, ready to go. So let's get wood turning. I'm starting off by just rounding off this corner, this edge, and by doing that you're also truing up the blank. Using the new Record Power 3/8 bowl gouge here, which I've put a fingernail grind on. And truing up the bottom here, the base of the bowl, a couple of push cuts. Just taking my time, nice slow gentle cuts. Couple of pull cuts as well, and now I'm getting back to shaping the base of the bowl. Notice how I'm moving my whole body as I'm doing this, bracing the tool against my rather large lockdown belly, which I'm going to have to do something about. So you can see the shavings piling up on my arm. But the outrigger's working very nicely, very pleased with that. Getting some lovely clean cuts, and very important with sycamore that you do get these nice clean cuts. Very easy to sand out a few tool marks, but very difficult to sand out, tear out, which can go quite deep with sycamore. So the more good clean cuts you can get, the better. It'll save you an awful lot of time finishing. So I'm making sure I'm riding the bevel, I'm keeping the tool sharp, and if I'm getting too much vibration, I'm slowing the cut up, taking finer cuts and slowing up. Here I've just marked out the recess for the chuck jaws, and I've switched to the new Record Power parting tool to define the recess, and then hogging out the middle with a bowl gouge again. Little visitation from Mia.
Please subscribe.
Then we're back to sanding. Just sanding to 400 with the Pro Sander. 2 coats of Chestnut Products Cellulose sanding sealer. You can start to see the grain a bit better. Then Yorkshire Grit Microfine. Loads of it. And then work it well and buff it all away. Gives a beautiful finish. Just buffing it away. I lost a bit of footage where I had my back to the camera, unfortunately. There you go, you can see a bit of chatoyancy appearing there. Then we're taking that off the lathe and removing the faceplate. On goes the SC4 chuck with 130mm jaws on it. And then we've remounted the bowl blank reversed, expanding the jaws into the recess. And here I'm profiling the upper edge of the bowl. I don't have to do too much work because of the shape of the planned bowl. Just a few push cuts. And then more sanding to 400. I'm not going to hollow the bowl at this stage. Here I'm just marking out where I want the rim to start and where I want my design. So back with the parting tool and just cutting out those rings. So one ring to define the rim, and then a recess that's going to be my inlay recess for putting milliput in. And that's about 3mm or 1/8 of an inch deep. There you go, all ready. So then it's indoors to do some milliput in. 3 colours, and I'll mix them all separately. Now mix them really thoroughly. It comes in 2 parts like most epoxies do. And just keep mixing and kneading and mixing and kneading for a good 5 minutes. That's particularly with the white, because you cannot really see when it's thoroughly mixed. I then adopt a roll and fold, where I fold the ends into the middle and then roll it and then fold it and roll the ends into the middle and roll it and fold it. And here we are. I'm now rolling out between sheets of baking parchment with some strips of plywood just to get an even thickness. So lots of rolling until we have a sheet. I'm mixing up the new turquoise milliput, although it's a year old now. Been out a year. First birthday the other week. And rolling that out again. The baking parchment is to stop it sticking to everything. I've also done the same with some black, and I'm layering black, turquoise and white. Don't worry about getting this too perfect, because you won't achieve a perfectly geometric pattern. It's always going to be a bit random. So here I'm rolling this up. I'm making what you would call a cane, like a candy cane, or cane when people use polymer clay. So I'm now rolling that out, lengthening it and narrowing it, and then chopping it. Loads of segments which I'm lining up. Lots and lots of chopping. Getting ready to put it in the inlay slot. So there you can see it all laid out. Bring in the bowl still on the chuck so it runs true when we put it back on the lathe. And I'm now squidging all that into that recess I've created. Be really careful not to leave any voids. You don't want any gaps, and you want the entire inlay to be slightly proud at the end. So squidge, 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 squidge. Keep pressing it in. Be really thorough with this. Do not leave any voids, and like I say, leave it slightly proud. Then the next day I leave it overnight to set. We're back on the lathe and it's the reveal. And here I'm using an Easywood Tools carbide roughing tool. Easy rougher. Now, you can cut milliput back with virtually anything, but this is just my favourite tool for doing it at the moment. And once it's almost cut back, I finish off by sanding to 400. And then we can start some hollowing. So I'm back to my 3/8 bowl gouge. And just taking my time. Using an outrigger, you want to keep vibration to a minimum. So gentle cuts, sharp tools. Just hogging out the middle of this. A lot of the footage I got of hollowing, particularly where I was undercutting the rim, I lost really because I had my back to the camera and you couldn't see a thing. So But I did put a slight undercut to the rim just to give it a bit of depth and form. Getting some lovely shavings coming off. Just hogging out a bit more from the outer edge here. I was checking my depth as well as I was going along. I couldn't use my usual depth gauge because I'm not over the bedways, but what I did was I used a big caliper, and I knew that the chuck recess was 8mm deep, so if I measured next to the chuck jaws and knocked another 8mm off, then that was about the thickness I had. Go have a bit slow-mo, curlies at the camera. I've got my glove on because some of these shavings that come off are quite hot. You get quite a sore hand, but you need to make sure that you keep your hand clear at all times. Just doing some finishing cuts across the bottom of the bowl, getting it nice and flat. Always tricky the further nearer the centre you get. It's running relatively slower at the middle, and you're also going to get more vibration where you're at the end of the tool rest. And like I say, taking your time, doing some nice gentle cuts. Now power sanding the inside of the bowl. It's easier power sanding than using an inertia sander on the inside. 2 coats of cellulose sanding sealer again. Then Yorkshire Grit Microfine. Same process, loads of it. Put it all over the way you want to work, and then work it really well and buff it all the way. You can see the lovely result. Then that's off the lathe. I've reversed the bowl again now just to finish off the base. So I'm just cutting away that recess for the chuck jaws using a bowl gouge, truing up the bottom, just getting it nice and flat, ready for my logo. Bit of sanding, power sanding, and then a bit of branding. Look at that, it's a whopper. The biggest diameter bowl I've ever turned. Biggest Milliput project I've ever done in terms of diameter, and slightly newish pattern I've done there, sort of a Mediterranean, sort of almost like a Mediterranean ceramic pattern, which I was really pleased with how that came out. A beautiful sycamore blank from Yandles, thank you Yandles, and absolutely delighted with that. It's a sort of piece that makes quite a statement because it's so big. Really enjoyed using the Outrigger. As I said, I could have actually turned this over the lathe bed because the Regent's got an 18-inch swing, but I wanted to use the Outrigger, and it performed beautifully right here next to me. But yeah, I mean, you get a little bit more vibration and bounce with an Outrigger, but it's fairly minimal and easily controlled. Sharp tools, light cuts, and you keep the headstock as far up the left hand end of the bed where the Outrigger sits as well, so you're not extending the arm more than you need to. But performed brilliantly, didn't miss a beat really. I was able to turn this. One top tip would be to always do the grub screws up on the chuck which holds it onto the spindle, because with a big piece like this, the momentum, as you stop the lathe is braked, and the chuck carries on and it'll actually start unscrewing off the spindle. So do up the little grub screws. But there we are. Like I say, it's a whopper. Thank you very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed that. Please like, share and subscribe, and I'll be back soon with some more videos. Once again, many thanks for watching, folks. I really appreciate it, and I really appreciate all the lovely comments. I try and reply to everyone. And if you haven't already subscribed, please do so and give the videos a thumbs up. It's a great help to me. It costs nothing to subscribe, and if you hit the bell icon, you'll be informed when I next put out a video. You can also follow me on Instagram and Facebook, and I have got plenty more projects in the pipeline, so keep your eye out for when I next put out another video. So back soon, and thanks again for watching.
Please like, share and subscribe. My daddy needs all the help he can get. More rubbish coming soon. Please subscribe.